What's up, everybody? Just thought I'd tell my story a little bit for a short while. You know, um, I was born into a alcoholic family, and you know, uh, uh, you know, I lived with my mother for my first couple of years of life, and I don't remember much of it, or any of it, but she'd tell me, bits of it, you know. Mm. But she ended up giving me up to the foster care system when I was 2. And so, you know, long life of, you know, constant mistreatment and abuse and, just, the disrespect from all the foster parents. And eventually I ended up living with my grandmother for a while. And I don't remember what she did to me either, you know. But, she was just an angry, dry drunk, And I'll never forget, who she was, And, now she's 80 years old and dying of dementia, you know. So, you know, but, you know, my, I, was set free from my childhood, when I turned 18, you know, um, after, the constant, like, abuse and running away from home and, you know, hospitalizations and nightmares and just the constant fear and, uh, I don't forget those things, but, you know, I guess I always knew one thing to just hang on and just keep going and don't give up on myself. And so, once I learned how to live independently, you know, I was off to the races, And when I turned 21, I was introduced to alcohol and cigarettes and weed and all that. And, you know, I thought life was pretty, pretty normal, And, you know, you know, I was a blackout drunk, and I was a happy drunk too, you know. But I was very sneaky, and I would take advantage of some of my friends, for their money and their kindness, and you know. One of them actually stuck around and is still my friend today. But you know, um, I did a lot of damage, and I burned some bridges. Some people I made amends with, and I still talking to them today. But it's like you know, be careful what you wish for. Is what I'm recommending. Um, but you know, I did. I just did a lot of damage to my health, and my mental health, and you know, I knew that, eventually, once, you know, the final day of my drinking came, it was like, you know, the night of New Year's Eve, 2020, you know, I was like done chasing after the effect of, drinking, and I was like, gee, like, if my body isn't letting me, drink anymore, that's a sign, I need to stop. And so I did, I woke up with a wine hangover the next day and on my friend's couch. And I thought to myself, this isn't fun anymore. It's not worth it. It was January 1st of 2021 during the height of COVID, and I'll never forget we went to Chili's that night. It was New Year's Day night, and I just rolled my eyes in disgust at the bar over across from us where we were sitting. And I didn't drink that night, and it was, you know, you know, a long road ahead of me, but 5.5 years later, I look back at my past, my life, and all the trauma I went through, and I think I've come a long way. But it's just simple, that like you know, no matter what your life throws at you, and you know, um, no matter who treats you, horribly, just hang on, and no matter how long it takes, you'll be able to get through the other side. Just don't ever give up on yourself, and I'm very thankful that I still have a life today because I didn't give up on myself. And you know, I am very happy that I don't have to live the way I used to, or treat people poorly. I treat people with kindness. I treat people how I want to be treated, no matter how they treat me. So it's like, you know, I just remember, you know, of all the people that, harmed me. And I'm just like, looking up at the sky right now, and I'm like, I still have a heart, because, you know, you know, my higher power, you know, you know, gave me a heart, and sobriety, taught me not to be heartless. So, um, but I didn't want to go into all the gory details of my drinking or my past. But, it's kind of just like, blacking out and ruining your health is the gist of it, and, you know, you know, it gave me a urinary tract infection one time, and, you know, there's another time where I fell on my head and I could have cracked my head open and got brain damage. So you do the math for yourself, but if anyone can relate, you know, maybe there's hope for some people still. I can reach out my hand and help someone else, you know. But there is hope and there is help out there. You don't have to go through it the rest of your life. You can stop today or you can stop tomorrow. But there's always a chance at a new life. Just gotta take it a day at a time, and you know, you'll get to where you want to be eventually. You just gotta keep going forward. Don't stay in the past. It's there for a reason. So, um, that's my story. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.